Well, this week, big moves in the advertising industry, and I'm very pleased to welcome Felix Kessel from the Owen Kessel agency. You've just undergone a big merger or an acquisition, so a very warm welcome to you, Felix.
Thanks, Jeremy.
You're a bright, young, fast-growing, independent agency, and you're now part of this giant global Publicis group.
That's right.
Why would you go that route?
That is the question, is it not? I guess there are two important reasons there. The first is it's a simple growth. It's a simple growth strategy, where we found ourselves at roughly mid-size. Trying to convert to large at that point means doubling your staff quotient almost immediately, and trying to make that a comfortable cultural transition to maintain the standards that you've had along the way is really difficult. This gave us the chance to merge with another entity and acquire not only like-minded people but their business at the same time. So it was a clever growth strategy. I guess the second thing is also to make sure that you have some kind of sort of future assurance and future-proofedness, although that's a bit of a buzzword. But there you go, where it gives you the resilience to resist kind of market forces, which is really, really important as well in this day and age. I think the most important piece probably is that the reason that that the merger happened in the first place was to bring some spark back to a legacy brand that had lost a little bit of that, and they want the independent spirit. They want to maintain that independent spirit, and bringing that into the network, especially into a network like Publicis, which has probably been a little bit lacking in that space, is kind of one of the big reasons, is give some energy and some spark.
I just want to rewind to the staff issue that you've just raised. You said you'd got to a point where you were at 40 or 50 odd staff, and there was a need to grow, but it becomes more expensive to grow without taking on more people. That's a challenge that any entrepreneurial business faces. At what point did you realize that you needed either the merger or acquisition, or you needed to actually start outlaying capital to bring on more staff and with that comes inherent risk?
So roughly a year ago, maybe a year and a half ago, we realized that we were in a position, in exactly that position, where growth required a fundamental bank balance shift, is really what it comes down to. Most businesses outside of advertising who reach this point look for external funding at that point. So it's a common practice to then go into the marketplace, try and find yourself a book or a lender somewhere that is willing to finance your expansion. In advertising, it's a lot more difficult, because if you try, I would challenge agencies out there to give this a go. If you can find a way, please let me know.
Venture capitalists will run a mile.
Absolutely. Yes. They're never going to invest in an advertising agency. So unless you've amassed a serious amount of capital over the time, or you have a rich relative.
That's tough in a margin squeeze business anyway.
Absolutely. So growth at this point usually requires that this kind of thing happens, that an acquisition happens. Either that, or you fundamentally follow a different growth strategy, where you're bringing on lots and lots of little clients and really kind of breaking your staff to try and get the capital that you need in order to invest against a large win.
Where's the risk in all of this, though? And part of that risk, and you can address that with merging cultures together. You just really don't know what you're going to get, do you?
So you don't. You're absolutely right. And I think, in a conventional acquisition, it's a lot easier, because in a conventional acquisition, they're buying you as is, and they take you and they take your culture. In a merger, you're trying to get two companies to work together. Fundamentally, there's going to be a culture transfer between the stronger to the weaker culture. That's always going to happen. The way that we managed this was that I got invested in the Burnett business early. So I spent a few months getting to know them, working in their business, and trying to figure out how to get the cultures to work together. There'll always be some attrition.
Designing a new one as you went along.
A little bit, yeah, because you've got to take the best of both worlds. Burnett was really, really strong from a systems and functionality perspective. I think we're very strong creatively, and actually bringing those two things together fundamentally has made us more efficient and more creatively effective, which is good.
Just in terms of the world of advertising, others who have gone before you, those independent agencies, they will say that the merger and acquisition gives you comfort, but you also lose your independence. Part of what you have to do is to maintain the independence within an organization, as well as that entrepreneurial spirit. Many would say good luck.
Yeah, and I think I think it is a challenge. Fundamentally, we were bought because of our independent spirit. That's what they liked. That's what drives us. So we've gone to great lengths to try and make sure that the group understands that that's what we offer. We're never going to contribute in a significant way to the bottom line of an international network down in the bottom of South Africa. What we can do is contribute to their reputation, and that requires that you maintain some of that independent spirit. If you're going to be a South African success story from a creative perspective, you have to have that. So I guess you just have to reframe how you look at independence. Yes, you're part of a group, but on the ground, since you are managing the Leo Burnett entity completely in South Africa, you have a lot of latitude to experiment and to devise new business strategies, new solutions, new units, new approaches, new models. They really do leave you alone to do that, which is really, really nice.
And that segues into the final question today, the new approach, the new models. Can you give any thought, any reference to what marketers are looking for from an ad agency these days? In other words, how is your fundamental offering changing to meet a very, very different set of requirements?
So I think, I've now been doing this for long enough that I've realized the cyclical nature of advertising. What I'm realizing now more and more is that marketers have gone back to deferring to their agencies a lot. So at some point, marketing departments were really, really powerful and comprehensive, and you had lots of skills almost to the point of creative within a marketing organization, with a marketing department within an organization. That's being narrowed way down once again. So now you have a few key marketing people, and the emphasis is being placed on the agency to lead, which means the agency needs to represent all disciplines, all third-party suppliers, and is actually taking on the role almost of a marketing department in and of itself. The reason partially for this is because of the always-on nature of digital, which the client doesn't want to have to manage. So the agency has to take that on almost as a permanent function within the agency. What that means is that if you are not one team offering one solution to your client, which includes and encompasses all of the madness that is digital, you're probably falling behind.
That's where we are going to leave it to Felix Kessel from OwenKessel, Leo Burnett, Owen Kessel, Owen Kessel, Leo Burnett.
OwenKessel, Leo Burnett.
Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you, Jeremy.